In today's video, what we're going to talk about is how to start a bottled water business. That's right, how to start a bottled water business. And you're in for a very special treat. So I invited one of my very special friends onto the podcast show to share his story about how he actually started a bottled water business from scratch. Okay, from scratch. And I had the unique pleasure of being able to watch him go from just it being an idea in his mind to actually materializing it in the real world and actually being able to create a profitable bottled water business. So I'm excited to have this guest on the podcast show. I think regardless of what your background is, regardless of what interests you have, whether you're interested in being an entrepreneur, being a business owner, or even just advancing in your general career, he's going to be sharing with you some very specific ideas, strategies, and concepts that will be able to help you advance in your career. So I'm excited for you. Please give us your undivided attention and let's go ahead and dive right in. Welcome to another episode of Career Strategies. My name is Rodney Hughes, Mr. 100%. Today's episode is being brought to you by The Ugly Truth About Getting Hired, how to land the job of your dreams regardless of the competition. In this book, you're going to discover the secrets to landing a top dollar job offer with ease. You're going to learn a simple step-by-step interview prep system that will help you dramatically improve your odds of landing the top dollar job offer that you deserve. If that sounds like something you're interested in learning more about, you can pick up a copy of this book today by heading over to www.theuglytruthbook.com. That's www.theuglytruthbook.com. Once again, that's www.theuglytruthbook.com.
All right, guys. Got a very, 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 very special guest on the podcast today. And I'm super excited to kind of dive into this guy's background. Very special friend of mine. His name is Ricardo Jones. And, you know, to me, he is what I would consider to be a unicorn. Okay. And, you know, whenever I talk to him, you know, oftentimes I'll refer to him as a unicorn. And the reason why I say that is because he has started something, and by something specifically a business, several businesses really, but you know, he has started a business from scratch that is a bottled water company. Okay, and I would probably argue that most people in the world don't know someone that owns a bottled water business or a bottling company at all. Okay. And so I'm super excited to have him on the podcast today as a guest. And I'm excited to kind of dive into his background. So welcome to the show, Mr. Ricardo Jones. How you doing, man?
What's up? Man, I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Doing phenomenal, man. I want to dive into your background. I think that, you know, on my podcast show, really what it's committed to is really helping people understand how they can generate more success in less time in their career. And you are one of the most successful people that I know. Okay. And so let's start here before we kind of dive into your background. You know, you have a bottled water company called Precipitate. Tell me a little bit about that water brand. Share it with people.
Yeah, so I started this water brand / company called Precipitate. And with Precipitate, what we wanted to do was focus specifically on water. But our main mission is to provide free bottled water for kids. That's what we specialize with. And by doing that, we provide that with our donation program. So it's a percentage, 20% of your qualifying purchase. We donate to any youth or sports recreational program in the United States or in the world, you know, if you have those type of connections. But that's just our overall goal. You know, I get a lot of questions about the business. Oh, is this a nonprofit? No, we for profit. And what we want to do is we want to give back those profits as being a company to youth sports and recreation in the communities that we serve.
That's dope. So like, tell me, like, where did you even think to even start a bottled water company?
Man, so man, just thinking about, well, it's a number of things, but being an athlete like yourself, coming up through the ranks, I played basketball coming up and different things of that nature. But I always was, with coaches, you always see coaches trying to raise money. You always seeing kids forget things or parents forget things like water or a snack or something when you're traveling or even when you're playing in the game. So that's what really kind of got me thinking about, wow, how could I help youth organizations and sports organizations? Because I feel like the youth in sports or recreational programs is not going to go away. People are always going to try and have, that type of involvement for their kids as an outlet, minus the time that we're in right now. But however, these organizations still happen, with social distancing and stuff. So that's kind of like the ethos of it, just really thinking about a solution for kids.
That's dope. And how did you come about giving free water for kids? Like that's an interesting angle on it. And when I think about like some of the other water brands that are out there, some of the big ones that we've all kind of heard of, and we'll dive a little more into that later. But when I think about these, your proposition is so unique. It's so different. I haven't heard of a water brand that is focused on giving free water to kids. You know what I'm saying? So like, how did you even start to kind of think about that idea or of positioning yourself from that perspective?
Well, I just, for me, it's kind of one of those personal things. I mean, you got all of these like supplements and all these different types of drinks, but at the end of the day, coming up and playing sports, and the number one thing that's going to get you hydrated is water, and also too, with providing water in general, I wanted to provide a quality yet healthy solution for kids, starting them out. I didn't want to provide a supplement or, sugar or a bunch of, chemicals to kids and say, hey, this will make you jump higher and run faster. I just wanted to provide something that was clean, simple, and, healthy. So that's why I chose water. Like, that's it.
And that's real interesting. So let's take a step back for a minute, okay? Because I know a little bit about your backstory, and I always say that it's kind of interesting. Like when you think about what Steve Jobs once said, where he was like, "You can never connect the dots looking forward, but you can always connect the dots looking backwards." And I think you have a very, very interesting backstory, especially when you look at the fact that you own a bottled water company at this point. So tell me a little bit about, your upbringing and what you experienced along the way that kind of tied into like this business at this point.
Yeah. So, I previously worked for PepsiCo. It's been a while. It's probably been now almost 8-9 years since I worked there, which time flies. But yeah, I was a district manager at PepsiCo, but I was in the Frito-Lay division. But, my dad actually worked for PepsiCo, but he works in the Tropicana division, and he's been working there for over 35 years, so ever since I was a kid. So I've always understood the beverage business and understood, what it takes to, hydrate yourself. And, just kind of understanding that and working it, and then understanding, how that distribution works when actually getting the real experience from working from PepsiCo and partnering with bottlers from the Frito-Lay side. I kind of understood the business. So, it's, to me, I understand the business side and the operational side of, how to actually make this thing work. So, that's a little bit of my background in bottling beverages and just consumer products in general.
Yeah, that's dope. And what PepsiCo is like? What the top? They're in the top one, 1-2 combination. You know
you got Pepsi, you got Coke. Which way you want, and then everybody else just kind of fall behind. I mean, and then also too, I mean, if you really start thinking about big brands, Gatorade is up under the Pepsi umbrella, and then you got Powerade is up under the Coke umbrella. So, when you talk about beverages on the planet, I mean, even water, Dasani is a Coke, Aquafina is Pepsi, so that's really one and two. The only other beverage providers that's bigger than both of those is the ocean. So,
and it's hard to compete with the ocean. They got 70% of the marketplace, huh?
Yep.
Goodness gracious. No, man, I think that's so dope though, because that old, I think it was Malcolm Gladwell's book, The Outlier, and they talk about putting your 10,000 hours in. You know what I mean? And what's interesting is, like, essentially what I'm hearing here is that your entire life, you've in some way, shape, fashion, or form been around the bottling business. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's interesting. You know what I mean? Like, did you learn things like before you started working for PepsiCo? I mean, were there things that you learned from your dad or whatever about the business that you didn't even necessarily know you were learning at that time, but you kind of picked up about the business?
Yeah, just some things that he would talk about. Now I kind of think about it, from the co-packing environment to product safety, manufacturing, scale. I didn't understand all that stuff really until I got to college and really dove into the business aspect of how things work and how things are moved through, how consumer products are moved through the economy. But he would talk shop with people, or he'll be trying to explain a lot of different things. He's right now I know he's a couple positions. At one time, he's a chemist, and he worked with a lot of the ingredients, and then he worked in the silos, and now he's working with the engineers and the leadership roles. So companies like that, so multifaceted. I try and just talk to him about being dad, but we talk a little bit of shop. So, but to answer your question, yeah, he kind of was letting me know some things, which now I kind of connect the dots to moving forward with my brand.
How trippy is that from your dad's perspective though? Like, your dad has been working in this industry pretty much your whole life, okay? And now his son owns a bottled water company, like flat out owns a bottled water company. How crazy is that? I mean, first off, how crazy is it? Also, how crazy is it from your perspective? Like, I don't even, like, when I talk to you sometimes, I don't even know if you realize how crazy that is, that you own a bottled water. Most people that they're going to listen to this, most people on this planet will never meet somebody who owns their own bottle, whether it's bottled water, whether it's soda, juices. Most people will never actually meet someone who owns a bottling company. So, like, is that trippy when you think about it? Do you think your dad's perspective is like tripped out about it?
Yeah, well, just build. Well, we built us building brands, and for me, my dad, he is scratching his head. I showed him a couple of my new marketing pieces and stuff, and he was like, "Man, you gotta, what you doing over there? Like, hey, this some, hey, I wasn't expecting this, So I gotta actually, it's funny. I gotta give him a call, a little bit later today, and we're gonna catch up on that. But yeah, for me, I mean, I just love, I got a passion just for creating products and creating brands and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, it's just something I love to do. So it's not. I think it's exciting for me to create it and for me to be able to execute the mission, right? To be able to help the kids or whatever you want to do. And then also, too, to be able to get it out in front of people so that they can actually be able to try it, to be able to have access to the product. I think that's it. And then building on top of that is staying true. I think that's what really excites me. But, I don't know. I never really looked at it like that until you really kind of pointed it out. To be honest with you, I just, it's just kind of maybe it was already embedded in me, but I never really looked at it like, dang, man, really connecting the dots. Wow, that's kind of maybe how you got there. It was already in you, but I never looked at it like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's good. That's a good observation.
I want to dive a little deeper into products and stuff, because I know some of the conversations that you and I have had over the years, your depth of understanding about just products in general, you know what I mean, is really, really interesting. Like, where did that start? Like, how did you, when do you, help me understand, like, where you got started looking into products, because you've been into it for like a very long time.
So that all came from just my love of playing sports, but specifically sneakers, tennis shoes. I was a big time pretty much like an enthusiast. I'll go up above and beyond just the consumer, because I had just this like such a love and such a passion for sneakers, athletic sneakers. Whether it was Nike is my first love, but I like Adidas, Reebok, Asics, Saucony. I even like Brooks, Merrell. Now you're getting into more of the fashion stuff. So like, the Off-White, Fear God, their shoe lines. And, I just love sneakers. Also too, Soul Architect. That's a new brand, I'm really starting to like, and different things of that nature. So, man, I just always have a passion for, just sneakers and actually how they were designed, how the story was told on how that particular design of that sneaker was, and how that functionality is, and ultimately how the consumer or the person that's purchasing that shoe can interact with that product. So that's what really sparked it. I mean, that, anybody who know me, from grade school all the way up to till now, they know that, he crazy about his shoes.
Yeah, your shoe game is definitely on another level. You know what I mean? I've seen you with some shoes like, what are those? You know what I'm saying? And not in the bad way, not the bad, what are those? But like no, for real, like what are those? Like, you know what I mean? So I think that's super dope. Now, kind of to come back to Precipitate, like, help me understand from when you got started with it, like, what has been some of the most challenging stuff that you had to deal with starting a bottled water company?
Well, starting a water company, one of the main things is we got to start as a brand first. And I'll be candid with you, the capital of starting a water brand, it can be costly, because you got to get the design, you got to get the labeling, obviously the business LLC, but then also too, you want to be able to trademark your brand. That's the operational side of it. And then you got to go out, if you don't already have, I guess, some type of pond or lake or spring, you got to find a partner to be able to bottle with. So you got to definitely find a quality bottler. And then from there, you got to be able to set your margins in order to be profitable. But I think the hardest part is once you get over the branding piece and all that other stuff that I just said, I think the distribution, because water is tricky, it's fluid ounces, and that fluid ounces go into pounds. And so it can get real heavy real fast. And with shipping things heavy, everyone kind of knows that it could be expensive. So the key to it is understanding that, you got to find that fine line of your product. And then you got to find that other fine line of how can I get that product to my customer effectively. And I think that's the trick.
And what are some of the ways that you've been effective at distributing your bottled water company? Because I think that, in and of itself, just starting the business itself seems like it would be a very challenging task to take on. You know what I mean? But then once you have the product like you do, which, by the way, is easily one of the best tasting waters I've ever had, once you get the great product, like, what are some of the ways that you've gone about actually distributing your product?
So, I mean, that kind of goes a little bit into, the strategy piece, but, you got to really understand that, for one, what type of product you have, and then you got to be willing to understand how you're going to target it. So what I actually looked at is, and for me is I want to be able to get the product to youth sports and recreational programs. And so what I do is that I go out and I pretty much create marketing specifically to tie it to student athletes, students, and parents, right? And then my other point is that it's a beverage. I understand that it's a beverage, right? And where do people go to buy beverages? They're going to go to a place where they have assortment and where they actually shop. So whether it's a convenience store, whether it's a grocery store, or if you're going online, and everybody know online, the main big dog online is Amazon. So, you got to be able to get your product accessible there. And that's pretty much, from a strategic perspective, that's how I looked at, starting up my distribution for my business.
Man, that's super dope. And, let's talk about that Amazon piece for a second, because it can be easy. Like I just ordered something today on Amazon, a piece of equipment for my business. And it can be easy to kind of look at Amazon and think that it is, that you just jump on there and then you're rich tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody's buying from Amazon, right? But like in the space you're in particular, I mean, dude, you're going against juggernauts, okay? And I know a little bit about the success that you've had on that platform, and it's freaking phenomenal to me. And so, kind of give a little bit of insight as to what that experience has been like, even dealing with Amazon and being, and more importantly, not just dealing with Amazon, but like your path to success in dealing with Amazon.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll be candid, it's still, ongoing with Amazon. And the reason why I say that is because Amazon can be a bit complex when you really want to start selling items at volume, right? And I will say this, Amazon is an equivalent to being in an actual grocery store, right? From setting up your actual profile to identifying your products in the correct categories, to actually having SKUs on your products, and then being able to have those SKUs tie back to your GS1, which certifies you as an actual item that can be sold to consumers, right? And then on top of that, right, once you actually get your product up there, okay, what type of imagery can you have? Because they do have restraints on what you can actually put on there for different account levels. And then how do you compete? How do I get my product seen? So there's a whole marketing inside of Amazon that can allow you to be able to grow your business. But I will say, shout out to Amazon, is that they provide a lot of resources for you to excel once you're on the platform. But just like anything else, you got to be able to dive in and take advantage of those resources. And sometimes it may be a little bit tedious, but you just got to follow the process, and that'll get you over the hump. Outside of that, it's going to be up to, your strategy and, you kind of understanding your marketplace, and then you being able to, drive sales, with whatever you come up with. It's not a surefire thing. You may get like a lot of marketing saying, oh, you can make $100,000 this, you can do this, you can do that. But you do have to come up with a strategy, for Amazon.
Yeah, got it. And then the other side of distribution that I wanted to jump into is like, I've seen a lot of your marketing, which I think is amazing, actually. And I know that you have had some strategic partnerships with some cool brands. Like tell me a little bit about some of the partnerships that you kind of had and how those came about.
Yeah, so we wanted to stay true with our branding. Provide free bottled water to kids with our donation program who participate in youth sports recreational programs. So what we did was we reached out to organizations, which we wanted to be kind of selective, especially starting out. You want to make sure that you align with people, but ultimately a partnership sponsorship program. And what we do is we meet with these particular organizations. who have student athletes or youth with recreational programs. And, what we do is that, we help them with a couple of things. One, we want to keep the kids hydrated. And our proposition is with water, right? Nothing else but water. The other thing is that we do collaborate with them on a couple of things, whether it's, scholarships, whether it's helping them pay for gym time to help them, facilitate some of their programs. I don't know, whether it's, a food drive, so on and so forth. So that's what we do. And just some of the organizations we work with Rare Breed. We work with Foresight Academy. We work with Sweet Feet. That's a new one. And then we have Immortals down. I'm in Miami. So two of the organizations are in California. And also too, what we try to do is, and this is in our brand. If you go to our site, it's kind of pink and blue. So the pink and blue represents the genders. So you got the boy and the girl. So for instance, Foresight Academy is a middle school age basketball, youth sports, mentorship type of program that we help. And then we have Rare Breed, which is unisex, essentially, all ages. And then we have the other two, which is Sweet Feet. They're just a football, but they're mostly boys. And then Immortal is like a nationally ranked 7-on-7 team that travels around the country and, get their athletes exposed to the 7-on-7 game.
That's dope. And now, just so everybody that's listening to this podcast understand, okay? So you can realize why I called him a unicorn from the very beginning. How long has Precipitate been in business?
Yeah, Precipitate been in business since the official launch was April 2019.
That is phenomenal. Okay, and just to watch how you work is absolutely amazing. And then, like I said, the product itself is very, very good. Okay, some of the best water that I've ever had. And that's just being honest, like, and so that's just amazing to see, the strategic partnerships that you've been able to create. And the, like I said, the brand itself and what you stand for is huge. And it's something I'm proud to be a part of. And actually, one of the things that I do plan on doing, and, we'll connect about this, after the podcast episode is, I want to go ahead and, put it in another order, you know what I mean? So that I can help personally with the whole donation strategy that you have. Cause I think it's such a dope thing. And water is something that everybody needs, not just once. Okay. Water is something that every single person, no matter what your race is, no matter what your, creed is, no matter what socioeconomic status you come from, is something that somebody needs. And so the question that you have to ask yourself, and it's something I've definitely asked myself, the next time you think about buying a bottle of water, ask yourself, is anybody else going to benefit from that purchase other than you and the company? It's a very interesting question. And so I think that's why your brand is super dope.
Yeah, I think, yeah, definitely a good point. I mean, for us, can't speak on any other companies, but, we just want to give back. We want to start off in the right direction and making sure that we're adding value to what we're doing as opposed to just having people spending their dollars. At least what we can do is we can make sure that those dollars that you spend are being allocated to organizations that you care for, especially if you have kids. I mean, I have kids as well. So it's always kind of one of those things where it's deeper than a feel good, right? Because, and I feel like for us, the way we see it is better than money, because when you see those bottles show up, you see those kids being hydrated, you can actually see where that 20%, where your purchase is actually going, where you're actually keeping someone hydrated. So definitely, that's what as a brand, that's what we want to be able to express.
Nice. And so, Mike, if for anybody who's interested in being a part of this, that's interested in helping kids with their purchase of bottled water, I mean, like, how do people connect with you? How do people go about engaging with Precipitate?
Yeah, so, man, great question. So for you guys or anyone that wants to really connect with us and really take advantage of the donation program that we have, you want to go to Precipitate bottledwater.com. And then what you want to do is you want to go in and you want to put in a quote. The reason why I say put in a quote is because due to, different type of shipping and then the timing of you actually receiving that particular donation based upon the qualifying case quantities, we want to make sure that it actually gets there. Also, too, there's a couple other things that we like to do. And we just want to be upfront with it. We want to call that organization and give you props. Let them know that this is why we're sending X amount of cases to them, and then also to be able to tie you back to that particular donation. So that's why the whole quote process is there. And then on top of that, if you just want to be able just to purchase and support, we definitely have it on Amazon. I'll be updating the site too as well, where you can actually purchase on the site. But if you go on to Amazon and make the purchase, that's more the direct to consumer, like when you're shopping in a grocery store. Make sure you leave some feedback for me as well on how the water tastes, or our mission, or whatever you may like to do there.
Nice, and I'm sure we're gonna have some people participating in this, and now where I want to take the conversation is, now let's focus a little bit on the future. Like what is your vision from this point moving forward?
Yeah, so the vision for me, I want to wrap it into the product. Like I said, I'm a big product person that like to really tell stories. So what I would like to do is, we started out with our Precipitate spring water. With the spring water, it's microfiltrated. It actually comes in a plastic bottle, right? And, with the way that the world is going, we kind of want to reduce some plastic. What I do want to point out is that there's still consumers based upon product engagement that likes the plastic because it's clear, and you want to see a water, right? So you want to see clear water. But the ethos of our brand is also to teaching a lesson of how products can actually evolve. And then that's what actually took us to our alkaline water in the aluminum bottle. So just a couple things about products. So we went with the spring water because it has the natural alkalinity of the product, right? But it was clear and it's going to keep you hydrated. Then we said, hey, you know what? We want to reduce our footprint in the marketplace around the world. So we went to the aluminum cans with the alkaline water. One reason we went with aluminum is because aluminum currently is the most recycled product in the world, right? And a way to actually give back. Obviously, you have people walking around who can actually pick this bottle up, and depending on where it's located, I know if you're in California, you can get probably 5 cents for this particular aluminum piece if you go ahead and recycle it. Another piece to the product is that we increase the alkalinity in the water to give you more of a pH balance and make you even more hydrated with the 9.5 pH alkaline water. So as the brand continues to progress, we know that it's a number of people who, don't really want to drink out of a water bottle, right? So we gave this option right here. This is our bottle. It's kind of like an anti-bottle. And we partner with the company in order to create these for us. But the cool part about this is that this particular bottle is 100% reusable. It's super light. You can freeze it. It has a carabiner where you can attach it to, different garments or your luggage. But also, too, you don't necessarily have to drink Precipitate water in this particular item. And then down the road, what our goal is just try to get net zero. So I think that we're going to be exploring some options where you can actually eat the water.
Excuse me, hold on, wait. You said what? What did you just say?
Yeah, we're going to go down the road where you can actually eat the water. So it's an edible water solution where, you become 100%. We'll come 100% net zero, and we won't have any type of waste. So that'll be down the road, and it'll be more of an on-demand product. So it'll actually align with the actual brand. But ultimately, we want to be able to, tell that particular story with our products that we're releasing, but also to making that story available and clear to our youth in the communities that we serve.
So let me get this right. You're actively in the process of creating edible water. like water that will hydrate you, but you're eating it.
Yes. We're working on a solution for that literally as we speak. It's a couple options in the world. Really one quality option in the world. But man, we're working on some solutions with possibly with them or with other opportunities ourselves where we can actually bring this to the forefront and, keeping people hydrated and also to reducing our carbon footprint.
Man, I mean, that's I'm super excited to try that one out because never heard of edible water before. You know what I mean? So that's super dope. That's super dope, and I love the fact that not only are you being innovative with what you're doing, but you're literally trying to kind of like help save the planet and make a better world for our little, our kids and our future generations. So I think that's super dope as well. Now let me ask you this, kind of to start to wrap this up. Help me understand, like, if there was one thing, again, the thing I want you, now, the reason I do this podcast is because I have a deep desire to help people create more success in less time. But when I say that, the real thing is I want people to create more success in less time with the truth, right? Not this rah-rah, oh, you got to be motivated, brother, right? Like none of that stuff. I want people to know what the truth is for how you can go about creating more success in less time. And so with that in mind, help me understand, like, what would your takeaway be as far as what you've experienced with creating your own highly successful water brand? What would you share with somebody about what they can do to create more success in less time?
More success in less time, man. That's an amazing question, man, because a lot of people, want that magic wand, right? But to be candid with you, couple things. One, you gotta have passion in what you're doing. You gotta understand what you're doing. Also, two, you don't want to put, I know it's gonna sound crazy, but restrictions of time on how you're going to be executing this to the marketplace. And I think that one of the main things that people really have to understand is that be consistent with what you want to create or what you want to deliver to the marketplace, right? And I'm not saying don't take any feedback. I would say take some feedback with a grain of sand. However, be consistent. Be consistent. Be consistent. The motivation and all that rah stuff is going to be there, and I'm pretty sure it's there because you probably started it. But I think those things about being passionate, really taking the proper steps and time to set it up. When I say that time, take your time to set up your business or your endeavor the correct way. I think it's a number of setbacks and why you spend time not actually accelerating because, your documentation isn't set up correctly. Your company isn't set up correctly. You don't have the right type of paperwork in order to submit to a buyer, or someone that's actually interested. You don't have the right type of labeling. I talked about GS1 in order to get your product uploaded onto certain platforms, so on and so forth. And then the last one is that consistency. Be consistent. Be consistent. And be shameless. Shameless in consistency. Continue building. It's because anything that's quality will take time, but the key is time and consistency.
Nice. Well, again, I want to thank you so much for, taking time out because, I know you're outrageously busy. Anybody who listens to this podcast knows that you're outrageously busy. And so I definitely appreciate you, dropping some wisdom, man. You dropped some great knowledge bombs here on what people can do to be more successful. And also, I think, like I said, anybody who's listening to this podcast, go check out his brand. It is absolutely phenomenal. And so go ahead and wrap this up one more time. Again, share any social media. And by the way, I'm gonna put the links in the description area so to make it a little bit easier for you. But if you're just listening to this, go ahead and tell people where they can purchase your water and how they can connect with you on social media platforms.
Yeah, definitely. So connect with me on Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook at Precipitate _ bottled with a D _ water. Also, too, you can go to my website. That's where you're going to find a lot of the information. Also, too, media, some things that you won't see on my Instagram and my Facebook page, where there's articles written up about us at www.precipitatebottlewater.com. Make sure you check us out on there. Yeah, man. We're going to continue to be growing. Shouts out to all of my partnership sponsor. We got Rare Breed, we got Foresight Academy, we got Sweet Feet, and we got Immortals. Thank y'all so much for helping your community. And definitely check them out on IG. They're pretty much, their IG is exactly what I said. Hey, thank you so much, Rodney. We appreciate your platform and giving us a voice, letting us be able to explain our story and talk about our products, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. And definitely, this won't be the last time that we connect and kind of talk about what you got going on. So thank you again. Thanks for checking out the episode.
Yes, sir. Hey, man, have a blessed day, man. Talk to you soon.
Absolutely.
Hopefully you got great value from today's episode. And once again, this episode was brought to you by The Ugly Truth About Getting Hired: How to Land the Job of Your Dreams Regardless of the Competition. In this book, you're going to discover the secrets to landing a top dollar job offer with ease. You're going to learn a simple step-by-step interview prep system that will help you dramatically improve your odds of landing the top dollar job offer that you deserve. If that sounds like something you're interested in learning more about, you can pick up a copy of this book today by heading over to www.theuglytruthbook.com. That's www.theuglytruthbook.com. Once again, that's www.theuglytruthbook.com. Thanks again for checking out today's episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And always remember, the only things that pay in life are the things that you get done. And that's based on a true story.